Hello friends, how you doing? Day 362, and it is 10:15 p.m. on this beautiful Sunday night. And it's been a while since that I've done a Storytime Sunday, so I thought I'd come in tonight and just share with you my journey on becoming plant-based. And so, when people ask me, if I have any restrictions or whatever with regards to my diet, I just say I'm a vegetarian. Nowadays, I probably 95% of the time I eat vegan, but at times I might have something that isn't fully vegan. And wherever you're at in your journey is great. And so I just want to kind of start out. Growing up in an Asian household, we ate a lot of meat. Okay, it was kind of the main part of every meal, and so I remember growing up as a teenager and hearing about people being vegetarians. To me, it was just unthinkable. Really, I'm like, how can you survive that way? I don't know. But again, I only knew what I knew from my upbringing, and so I never judged them. I just thought, I don't know if I can do that. That was the question I had, and so never judged them, but I asked a few questions. I don't remember what the questions were. However, move forward into my mid to late 20s. I moved out of my parents' place to Vancouver with a friend of mine, and he was vegetarian. And so at that time, I had just moved out, and I was just trying to heal myself, trying to get over my parents' divorce. And so he was a really nice guy. Really, I still love him today. To this day, he's like a brother to me. I see him every once in a while, and I'd see him cooking one night, and I'm like, so that's soup. I said, yep. And I was like, what's in it? So he says, oh, it's just tomatoes, something else, and beans. I'm like, oh, so where do you get your protein? He's like, it's in the beans. I'm like, oh. I'm like, does it fill you? He was like, it does fine for me. I'm like, all right. And, I kind of just, I watch him eat some meals here and there. And I just asked him a few questions. I was curious. At that time, I don't know if I could have gone vegetarian or plant-based, but I just a seed was planted. And then, let's see here. And then, for me, health is a huge priority for me. And it's a value that is very important. And so, anytime I can learn something to better my health, I will try to learn and apply. And so there were reports and stats showing that eating meat was not very good for your health. It raised your the chance of getting cancer and a lot of high cholesterol and all these other not very good things when it comes to your health. And so I'm like, oh. So again, another seed planted. Should I be eating as much meat as I can or am? Because back in the day, my friends would call me like a bottomless pit. He'd one friend, he says, man, this guy's got tapeworms. Because I had a huge appetite. I'm always active, and so being athletic and always being active, I needed a lot of food to just sustain me. And so I'd finish my meal, then I'd finish my friends' leftovers, and when you're in the early 20s, you don't really care. You eat anything and everything, right? And then, so another seed planted. So there was a couple seeds planted. And then I watched Gandhi, the movie. I think this is around 2009 or so, maybe 2010. And Gandhi and his life was very inspiring for me. He preached nonviolence and a number of other things, and just how he approached things aligned very much in the way I see the world. And so I ended up reading his biography just to learn more about him. I wasn't actually trying to understand vegetarianism or anything like that, but it got to a point where he talked about being vegetarian, and he listed 7 different reasons. I cannot remember those 7 reasons, but number one, first and foremost, it was for his religion. Number 2, I remember environmental impact. Number 3, it's a part of a religion, but just not doing harm to others. Number 4, it was cheap. Cheap's not the right word. Frugal. Yes, let's just say cheap. It didn't cost as much money to grow or to eat plant-based. And there's a few other ones, but I don't remember. And so I'm like, wow, okay, those are all good reasons. Oh, health, of course, as well. And so all great reasons. I'm like, oh, okay, that's another seed planted. So really great. So at that time, I had already started decreasing the amount of red meat in my diet. And so I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to start moving towards being a vegetarian. I didn't think I could do it cold turkey. And so I decided to just start off by decreasing the amount of red meat that I had. Oh, there's another seed that was planted. About 5 years before that, I had read Tony Robbins' book, Awaken the Giant Within. And at the back of the book, there was this massive section on the effects on the environment of raising cattle. And I was like, this is like, I was reading for the personal growth stuff. But this, at the massive section of the book, probably a sixth of the whole book, he dedicated to this one section. I was like, wow. Read it, made a lot of points, backed up with facts and all that. And he talked about the impact on the environment from raising cattle. And I was like, what? It's actually making that much of an impact? And it just shocked me, the stuff that he was sharing. And again, another seed planted. And so near the end of 2010 was actually when I decided to just cut off all red meat. I was like, all right, I'm on the path. And so, I was decreasing red meat along the way, and then I just decided, you know what? Let's just not have red meat, period, done. So I did that for a few months, and then, next step I said, you know what? It's time to cut out poultry. So chicken and, I don't know, my mom used to make quail and so forth. So, boom, cut that out. So now it's just seafood, so just pescatarian. Did that for a little longer, I have to say 6 months to a year. And then I was like, I don't really need to eat this seafood. And I just said, you know what? I just stopped eating seafood. But my mom, it took her a while to actually accept or even remember that I stopped eating meat. And then after a while, I just had a rule. Okay, I'm not going to buy any meat products. No meat, no poultry, no seafood. Just all that, not in my home. And that was basically the start of being plant-based. And, it was a little gradual, step by step. But I got there. It's been a decade plus now. And, you're never going to be perfect 100%. But I think the most important thing for me, and I would say if you're ever thinking about doing a plant-based diet, going vegetarian or vegan, is to know your reasons why. That's the biggest thing. Because if you don't know your reason, and it's not important enough to you, at some point you're going to revert back. And if you do, that's, it's all good, no judgment. Like my old roommate, right, that was a vegetarian, he went back to eating meat. And I'm a vegetarian. I don't ever plan on going back to eating meat. So, but again, no judgment. Wherever you're at. I remember when I was, like I said, when I was in my early 20s, no way I would have thought I would become a vegetarian. But as I started to learn some new things, life changes. Different choices are made. And so, a few things that I would throw out there if you're planning on going plant-based or vegetarian is Number one, if you choose to, you can go cold turkey, but I find for most people it's very hard to do and sustain because it is more of a lifestyle. A lot of people I find they start the vegetarian lifestyle, and a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months goes by, and then they stop. They say, I don't know, they get tired of the food, or they're too lazy to go look up new recipes. And so, which goes to my second point, surround yourself with other people who are plant-based. And there's many groups. I'm a part of a number of groups on Facebook, vegetarian recipes, also raw vegan. Oh my gosh, there's some amazing conversations there, which I will share with you another time. But yeah, it's just, again, accumulating a little bit of knowledge here and there and just thinking on it, right? Do some critical thinking, get some knowledge, and then just ask yourself, does this serve me? Is this what I want for myself, for my health? Is this how I want to live my life? What do I value, right? And that's what I found really helped me once I make those choices to actually stick with the choices. And that's the biggest thing, my friends. And again, on this journey, like, I would encourage all of you guys, wherever you're at, is to always treat people with kindness, always treat people with compassion, and you're going to need a lot of patience. Because along the way, certain people will make some snarky comments. And, what I found is that typically people who do, they're not bad people. Typically, it's because they don't want to make a change. And so, since they're not going to make a change, they're going to try and pull you back from making any changes that you want to make. And nothing different in business. When you start a business, guess what? Typically your friends or family closest to you they try and usually, poke holes into what you're trying to do. Oh, it's too hard. It's not worth it. And why? It's what they know, right? They see you're trying to make positive changes in your life, and they don't want to, or they're too lazy, or it's not important enough to them, so they want to keep you where they're at. And that's the struggle. Anytime you try to make some positive changes in your life, there's always going to be people that are going to try and pull you back down. The question is, are you going to let them? Hence, that's why a huge part of the journey to creating positive changes in your life is just surround yourself with other people that are heading in the same direction. No matter how strong you think you are in terms of your willpower, if your environment is not conducive to you making positive changes, you will fail. I'm sorry, that is, that the rare individual might be able to have enough willpower to overcome their environment. As an example, I try my best not to have chips in my home. Why? Because I'm going to eat them. I'm not strong enough. So in general, I think, okay, no. And then, I'm usually good for a few months, and then, I may have a little craving, and then buy some bags. Because it's in my home, it's going to get eaten. And so, same thing. That's why when I was on my journey to become a vegetarian, I had a rule, just no meat in the house. Done, right? And when that was done, it just made that transition a lot easier, because it forced me to think, okay, what I'm going to eat tonight? How I'm going to, what dishes I'm going to make? And what I found is a lot of the dishes I made, recipes, were the same as before, except I just didn't have any meat. I just had more vegetables and different vegetables. Or I substituted with tofu of some sort. And nowadays, living in Vancouver anyways, there are so many companies that are coming out with alternatives to meat. And so, you just gotta be willing to go out there and try. Planted Expo, I think it was not this past weekend, but the weekend before. Massive two-day expo with so many different new companies, or companies that have been around a while, that are showcasing their products, sharing with you what they've come up with to help you transition to that plant-based diet. And so, that's kind of been my journey. And today, will I ever go 100% vegan? I don't know. I'm not there right now, and, we live in a society where if you really think you're going to be 100% vegan, you'd be hard pressed to be able to do that because everything has something in it when it comes to some type of animal product. I didn't know, but most wines are not vegan. I'm like, when I heard that, I'm like, what? So again, right, like, you know, so if you're vegan and you may slip up once in a while or have some, like, it's okay, people. Like, we all make mistakes, or stuff happens sometimes, and I just want to say that just give yourself some grace. We're all learning on this journey called life in whatever areas that we're trying to make a positive changes in. And so just love yourself enough to say that I'm human, I make mistakes. And that doesn't make me any worse of a person. That doesn't make me a bad person. It just, maybe I just made a bad decision in the moment, but it doesn't make me a bad person. And so I hope some of these tips help you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Some of my cooking videos, it's all vegetarian. Actually, most of them, if not all of them, are like vegan. But and hopefully they give you some ideas on what you can do. Anyways, I hope you are all doing fantastic on this Sunday night. I can't believe it's almost December, folks. All right, man. I hope that you are doing amazing, and I just want to say I love you. Good night.